There's a version of you that you've never actually seen. It doesn't exist in a mirror, it doesn't exist in your memory, but it exists everywhere else. It's built from what you click, what you watch, what you search, what you pause on, and what you scroll past. Every second of attention, every hesitation, every interaction is being recorded. Not occasionally, not selectively, constantly. And over time, those signals begin to form something. A profile, a pattern, a digital identity constructed from behavior. Not who you say you are, not who you think you are, but what you actually do. And that version of you is more detailed than you might expect. It knows what keeps you watching, what triggers emotion, what makes you click, and what makes you leave. It can estimate your interests, your habits, your likely decisions. And in many cases, it can predict what you'll do next. Not perfectly, but accurately enough to be useful. Because once behavior becomes predictable, it becomes something else. It becomes influenceable. And that's where the shift happens. Because these systems don't just observe behavior, they respond to it, they adjust to it, they learn from it. What you see changes, what you don't see changes, what gets recommended and what never appears at all. Not randomly, not neutrally, strategically. Because the goal isn't just to understand you, it's to keep you engaged, to keep you watching, clicking, interacting. And over time, those small adjustments begin to compound. A slightly different feed, a slightly different suggestion, a slightly different sequence of information, until eventually, your experience starts to diverge. From other people, from other perspectives, from what's actually available. Because you're not seeing everything, you're seeing what fits your profile. And that profile is constantly being refined. Not necessarily to reflect you accurately, but to predict and guide your behavior more effectively. And that version of you doesn't stay in one place. It moves across platforms, across devices, across systems, following patterns, matching signals, connecting data points. Even when you're not actively thinking about it, it influences what ads you see, what content appears, what opportunities show up, and which ones don't. Sometimes subtly, sometimes in ways you'd never notice. Because it doesn't feel like control, it feels like convenience. But over time, something deeper starts to happen. Your digital identity begins to matter more than your real one. Because systems don't interact with you directly, they interact with the version of you they've built. A version based on data, on patterns, on predictions. And that version is what decisions are made around. What you're shown, what you're offered, what you're excluded from. And at that point, the question changes. It's no longer just about privacy or data collection, it's about control. Because if a version of you exists that can influence what you see, what you believe, and what choices are presented to you, then that version of you matters. Maybe more than people realize. So the real question becomes this: if your digital identity is being built, shaped, and used in ways you don't fully see or control, then who are you inside the system? If you found this video interesting, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss the deep dives we take into the systems shaping our world. And if you know other independent thinkers who want to understand what's really going on behind the headlines, share this video with them. Then help out the algorithm, hit that like button. Ready for the next truth test? Let's go.